Hello! Today we are going to be doing a little crash course on how to divide polynomials. To start out, there are two ways to divide polynomials, synthetic and long division. Long division is the blanket technique for dividing polynomials and will work in any situation, where synthetic division is a broken down version of long division that only works when dividing a polynomial by a binomial where the x is equal to 1 and the highest power is 1. The first example we are going to be doing is an example of long division. This, once again, is the blanket way to divide a polynomial. So this will work with anything. To begin, we are given f of x equals 4x cubed plus 27x squared plus 34x plus 12, and we are told that one of the x's equals negative 3 plus the square root of 5. Because this x contains a radical, that means that the x we are given actually is two x's, which is x equals negative 3 plus the square root of 5, and x equals negative 3 minus the square root of 5, because when you take the square root of a number, it is plus or minus. The first thing we need to do is turn these x's into factors. In order to do that, if you can recall, when turning a factor into an x, you have to set the factor to 0, which means we have to reverse that, which means that x equals negative 3 plus the square root of 5 turns into x plus 3 minus the square root of 5, and x equals negative 3 minus the square root of 5 equals x plus 3 plus the square root of 5. To figure out what we need to divide the original function by, we need to start out by multiplying these two factors together. I used the box method. I drew a 3 by 3 box and put one factor on each side. On the top, I put x plus 3 plus the square root of 5, and on the side, I put x positive 3 minus the square root of 5. I prematurely crossed out boxes because when you add the factors in these specific sections, the numbers cross out. This saves me time. In all the boxes, x times x is x squared, 3 times x is 3x. X times 3 is 3x once again, and 3 times 3 is 9. Negative square root of 5 times the square root of 5 gives us negative 5, because when multiplying two square roots together, you are left with a number on the inside because the two square roots cancel each other out. And then on this one, on the outside, we are multiplying by negative 1. So 5 times negative 1 gives us negative 5. When you add all common factors together, you are left with x squared plus 6x plus 4. Now it's time to begin the actual long division process. The x squared plus 6x plus 4 is the function that we are going to be dividing by. Just like in normal long division, we want to draw this half rectangle shape and put the function we want to divide on the inside and the function we want to divide by on the outside. To begin, we want to look at the first term in each of these functions. In this function, it's 4x cubed, and in this function, it's x squared. Now we want to figure out what number this term needs to be multiplied by to find this term. As you see, the number that this x begins with is 1, and we're trying to get to 4. So 4 divided by 1 is 4, which means that our first number here is going to be 4. Now, our power here is to the third, and our power here is to the second. And when multiplying exponents, you add them together. So that means that x to the power of 1 times x to the power of 2 will give us the x to the power of 3, which means altogether it's going to be 4x. So 4 times 1 is 4. X times x squared is x to the third, leaving us 4x to the third, which matches the first term of this function. Now you want to repeat that process with the other two. 4x times 6x gives us 24x to the second, and 4x times 4 gives us 16x. Now you want to subtract all these terms from each other. 4x to the third minus 4x to the third gives us 0. 27x to the second minus 24x to the second gives us 3x to the second, and 34x minus 16x gives us 18x. And then you want to bring down the 12. So you're left with 3x squared plus 18x plus 12. Now you want to repeat the entire process. 3x squared, now our first term is 3x squared, and our first term here is still x squared. X squared times 3 gives us that 3x squared, because 3 divided by 1 is 3, and x squared divided by x squared is, they cancel each other out, so we don't even need the x. So x squared times the 3 gives us the 3x squared. 3 times 6x gives us 18x, and 3 times 4 is 12, which gives us the 12 here. Now you want to subtract once again. If you notice here, all of them subtract out to 0, which means we have completed the problem and have completed it properly. Our answer is going to be 4x plus 3. 4x plus 3, as you can tell, x is to the power of 1, which means that this is also a factor for our beginning function. And we have our other two factors here, and as you can see, this is 4x to the third, which means it's going to have 3 factors, which means that we have already found all 3 factors, which means we can go ahead and write out our original function in factored form. So it's going to be f of x equals 4x plus 3 times x plus 3 plus the square root of 5 times x plus 3 minus the square root of 5. The next example we are going to be doing is synthetic division. Keep in mind that synthetic division is another form of dividing polynomials and is a cut down version of long division, which means that you can do this exact problem with long division as well. We can only do the synthetic division version because of the specific situation we are in, which I will explain later. But just keep in mind that if you have trouble understanding this concept but you understand the long division, go ahead and do the long division version. This is just another way to do it that saves time. To do this problem, we are given the function f of x equals 2x cubed plus 15x squared minus 29x minus 18, and are told that one of the x equals 2. Now, we need to figure out whether or not we can do this problem with synthetic division or not. So to do that, I turn this x back into its factored form. And keep in mind that when turning a factor into finding x, or solving the factor, you have to set the factor to 0. So you want to do the reverse of that, which means that our factor would be x minus 2. Because the x is equal to 1 and the power of x is 1, that means that we are able to do this problem with synthetic division. To set up our synthetic division problem, we want to draw this fancy shape here. If you recall, in our long division problem, we had an upright half rectangle shape. In this problem, we're going to flip it upside down and then add another box on the side so that we can make sure we hold on to our x. The next thing we are going to do is write out all of the coefficients and constants on this top row here, which, because it's 2x cubed, our coefficient is 2, so we're going to write 2. Here it's 15, 15. Here it's negative 29, so we're going to write the negative 29. And here we have the constant negative 18, and so we're going to write the negative 18 here. As you see here, our factor is x negative 2, and we want to put the solution to this factor in this little box here. So because our factor is x minus 2, we were already given the solution x equals 2, so we're going to put 2 in this little box right here. Now, to do the actual synthetic division, you want to start by bringing down this first number. Next, you want to multiply this number by the number in the box. So 2 times 2 is 4. Next, you want to add this number to this number. So 15 plus 4 is 19. And then repeat that process. So 19 times 2 is 38. Negative 29 plus 38 is 9. 9 times 2 is 18. Negative 18 plus 18 is 0. Now, you want to end in 0. If you did not end in 0, you did something wrong. To get our end function, which is located here, you want to remember that you are dividing this original function by this factor, which contains an x. And when you're dividing exponents, here is 3, here it's 1, you want to keep in mind that you're subtracting the exponents from each other. So x cubed divided by x to the first is going to give you x squared. So we're not going to start with 2x cubed here. We're going to start with 2x squared and continue that pattern on. So we're going to have 2x squared plus 19x plus 9. We have officially completed the division part of this problem, but after our division, we were left with a quadratic function, which means we still have factoring to do. So we're going to go ahead and factor this. Now, the x here, the coefficient with this x is not 1, it's 2, which means that we have to multiply this a value by the c value and for our first number in our t. So 2 times 9 is 18. And then our b value, 19, goes here. So we need to find two numbers that multiply to get 18 and add to give us 19. 18 times 1 gives us 18, and 18 plus 1 gives us 19. So now we need to plug these into our factors. Remember that our a value is 2, so you want to put 2x plus 18 and 2x plus 1. Now if you can simplify, simplify. So here the greatest common factor is 2. So you want to take out 2 here as well. So you're going to be left with x plus 9 And here we can't simplify it any further, so it's just going to be 2x plus 1. So we have this factor here, x minus 2, we have x plus 9, and we have 2x plus 1. Our starting function is cubed, which means it's going to have 3 factors, and we have found all 3 factors, which means we can go ahead and write the original function in factored form. So our final function in factored form is going to be f of x equals x minus 2 times x plus 9 times 2x plus 1. Yay, we have completed our crash course. I hope this video was helpful in teaching you and helping you understand how to divide polynomials, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Bye-bye!